but you never know. Could be someone. Today, joining me as always, my co-host and the brains of this show, the guy who knows the ins and outs of football like no other person in this system. Xavier, how's it going, bud?
I'm doing pretty good. How about yourself?
Yeah, not too bad, not too bad. Nice, relaxing weekend for Colts fans all around. No games that we have any interest in, and no games for anyone, that's a fact. So we'll get right into the news. Not really breaking news now, but if you haven't heard already, Matthew Stafford has gone to the LA Rams. Jared Goff has gone the other way, I believe, for 2 first-rounders and a third, maybe something like that. Xavier, what's your initial thoughts on this deal?
Yeah, the Rams kind of overpaid just a little bit. This is really, to me, it's just the Rams organization pushing their chips all in, trying to get a good quarterback for their coach, Sean McVay. Sean McVay is, in my opinion, an excellent coach, and I think it finally done him some justice there. You know, he's got a great defensive game plan, but it's always felt like he's been limited on offense. So, good on him for getting him a quarterback. Stafford's 33. How long will he hold up? This is going to be now 9, 10 straight drafts that the Rams haven't had a first round pick in. So that's been their methodology so far. It's kind of worked out. They've been in the playoffs pretty frequently. They went to the Super Bowl once. So, it's a good luck to them, but I still think they overpaid for that deal.
Yeah, it was. I mean, it come out of the blue, nowhere. A lot of people thought Matt Stafford was ending up in Indy, including myself. I was looking forward to having him in Indy. An excellent quarterback, but I wouldn't be happy if we had paid that much for him, would you?
No, not at all.
No. When, like we said, now the Rams don't have a first-round pick until 2024, I believe it is. So, I mean, all it takes is one, you don't wish it upon anyone, but one bad injury, because that's the NFL. And all of a sudden, the Rams don't have a quarterback, don't have first-round picks to try and save the season. But let's look at the Detroit side of this. They had to get rid of Stafford. He wasn't happy there anymore. As much as I'm a big fan of Dan Campbell, he can talk. We'll soon find out if he can walk the walk. Who won in this deal? Who got the better end of it?
Well, the Lions are in obvious rebuild mode. Leaving Stafford there will only lead to much more success than your team needs in rebuild mode. So I think it would inflate to really tell where a team is. Let's start off by saying this. To tell where a team is, you need to liquidate your assets, because then you could know where you need to build. Then, not having a bunch of talent on your team, the people that will be good will flourish. And so now with the 7th pick, they can take a quarterback, maybe a Trey Lance, Zach Wilson, maybe even Ohio State guy, Fields, maybe even Fields. That's a possibility at 7. So I think this is a lot of potential for them. It's giving them extra picks. And like you said, there's a big risk in keeping Stafford. He does have, that injury bug to him. He seems to play through the injuries, but it doesn't always lead to him playing good as well. So keep that in mind. So, there's a lot of different outcomes to this. I think for the Lions, they have the better chances of coming out of this successful, but we'll see.
That leaves us Colt fans in a bit of a precarious position. Now, I'm not going to sit here and pretend I've wanted Carson Wentz all the time. I've quite openly said I don't want Carson Wentz in Indy. That being said, I can't see Jacoby Brissett being our starter next year. Love the guy. I just can't see him being around much longer. We can't afford him, especially for the deal he's going to want. If Carson Wentz comes in, are you happy? Are you annoyed? Are you angry?
I'd be happy. Yeah. We've seen Carson Wentz in Doug Peterson's system, which is much more complicated than what we have now currently in Reich's system. And that was the difference when Reich was in Philly. The system there was much easier. It didn't put Wentz into these scenarios where he had to go through 2 or 3 reads per play. He could have one read that was almost guaranteed, and if it didn't work, then the second read would for sure be there. Which is, it's hard for a coach to do that in today's NFL, especially with these new complex defenses, but that's what Reich can do. Reich is an excellent game planner. He is one of the best play designers in this league. He is one of the best coaches in this league, in my opinion. And I think bringing Carson Wentz back here will really help his career. He was sacked, 50 times, most in the NFL, and 12 starts. So he didn't even play a full season, most sacked quarterback in the league under Doug Peterson, who just got fired. I think the last 2 years he's been kind of treated unfairly. You can say that about a lot of quarterbacks, but Carson Wentz recently in particular has been treated unfairly, and I'd be happy if he'd be a Colt.
Cool. You'd like to hear it. Let's jump off the QB carousel for a minute and talk about a former Indianapolis Colt now in Nick Sirianni. He has headed off to Philadelphia. Did you see his press conference?
Yeah. I did.
Not a great first impression, but what annoys me is when people start taking the mick out of it, start taking the piss, because he's going to be nervous. There's a lot of weight on his shoulders at the minute. He's got a franchise to rebuild. Philadelphia fans have got to remember this. They are not a good franchise. They don't have a great culture. They're not a great franchise, and people are going to watch this. It can come at me, the Twitterites or, the Eagles fans can come at me. But when Frank Reich was there, they got to the Super Bowl. I'm not just saying it was Frank Reich. They had a very good team at the time. But you slowly look away when we got Frank Reich in replace of Josh McDaniels, who did us over. The team just started to fall apart, and bits started coming off him. It can turn very toxic quickly in an NFL locker room. So that being said, can Nick Sirianni go in there and sort this out?
It's definitely a possibility. Compared to Doug Peterson, I don't know why Eagles fans are crying. They just went through 2 years of Doug Peterson by himself, just running this organization into the ground. Went from a Super Bowl winner to being one of the worst teams in the league. So, at the end of the day, the GM has a little bit to do with that as well. But, your head coach, it falls a lot on that. If you go from being a Super Bowl team to being, again, one of the worst teams in the league, something's going wrong. You're not coaching your players well. You're not getting the full potential out of these guys. So I think they should be enthused with Sirianni, whether he stutters a few times or not. I think his resume speaks volumes. I think he's a stand-up guy. I think he's a really good character, and he's a good character evaluator as well. So if I'm the Eagles, I'd be just happy having him. It's just a lot of casual fans. It's a lot of 60, 70-year-old guys just speaking up when they shouldn't, talking about a league they no longer know.
Yeah.
It is what it is. But, I wish the best for Sirianni. He did a great job with us. And, I hope he does well.
Hey, if Philly don't want him, we'll have him right back.
Yeah.
I'd probably have him right back. He's with what he did with – a lot of people say he wasn't calling the plays. From my understanding of it, he would choose 3 or 4 plays for that one play or that one scrimmage to say. And he would take them 3 or 4 plays to Frank Reich. Like we say, it's a lot of casual fans. And what these casual fans don't understand is to pick 3 or 4 plays that could possibly work within the space of 25 seconds, is it? The play clock? And to make a choice on that really proves the intelligence of people. It's not just pick a play and hope it works. It's what are the defense doing, or what could they be doing? Who have we got? What could we be doing? If Philly fans want any reassurance, speak to any Colts fans, and we'll speak very highly of Nick Sirianni. But that left an absence on the Colts front staff to say on the managerial team. And I think what the right choice was, and it's, I hope it proves us to be right, is Marcus Brady being promoted from quarterback coach to offensive coordinator. How much do you know of Marcus? What impresses you about Marcus? Do you have any concerns?
I know very limited things about Marcus Brady. Probably one of the only few people on our staff I do. But from what I know, he seems like a pretty good guy, and I think he's coming into the right system. He knows a lot about Jacob Eason. He's impressed with the track Jacob Eason's on. So hopefully, he turns out to, help us in that department. Help developing Jacob Eason into being our starter. Because if we found our guy in the 4th round, I'd be happier than probably anyone in Kentucky. But yeah, from what I've heard, stand-up guy, again, just a great character to have in the locker room and a pretty good coach.
Yeah. From his first interviews, it seems like he can talk the talk. We will see. It's a big jump up from just quarterback coach to coaching the whole offense. What I would say is, do you reckon this is why Chris Ballard's never going to be the guy to run in and give 3 first-rounders for a QB and hope it works out to save his own skin. But do you think this is, this Nick Sirianni going away and Marcus coming in, do you reckon this is why the Colts are sort of taking the time, because they want to get together? They all want to get a guy they agree on?
I haven't thought about it like that, but yeah, that's a good possibility. They're trying to throw all their thoughts together, figure out where they should go with it. That's a definite possibility. Hopefully that's what they're doing, because from what I know, all 3 of them are just absolute geniuses when it comes to quarterback.
Yeah. To jump back onto the quarterback carousel, or merry-go-round, or roundabout, whatever you want to call it, there's a plethora of talent available. Whether it's through the draft, whether it's free agents, whether it's quarterbacks that want out. The Texans have come out and said they don't want to trade Deshaun Watson. At the end of the day, I don't think that's up to him, up to them. If he wants to go, he will go. If not, they're going to have a very sticky situation where he's not going to play a snap for him all season, and then all of a sudden he's worth 2 first-round picks and not what he's worth now. I know we get asked this question a lot, but what's the realistic option for the Colts? Is it take Jacoby on for another year? Is it Sam Darnold out of the Jets? Is it all up in the air and let's just see?
Yeah, that's a good question. Are you asking for maybe the most likely scenario, or?
Yeah, because we know we're not going to get Deshaun Watson. As much as I'd love to, he's too expensive. But there's others out there: Sam Darnold, Carson Wentz. Are we re-signing Jacoby, or do we just throw it to the wind and go with the rookie Jacob Eason?
Well, I'll kind of talk about each situation. When we think about Carson Wentz, Carson Wentz is, he might be the guy in Philly next year. I know a lot of people love the rookie, the 3rd rounder they had this year. What is it? I can't remember his name. Wait, what is it?
Jalen Hurts.
Yeah, Jalen Hurts. He played phenomenal. He came in, played great. He had a great game against the Saints. Blew me away. Was really impressed by that. But they just fired Doug Peterson. They're bringing in new guys. They just hired Sirianni, who is a Frank Reich clone. So something makes me think that they're keeping Carson Wentz. Something makes me think Carson Wentz is going to stay there. And if we want Carson Wentz, we're going to have to shell out of pocket, a lot. So I don't think that's, to me right now, looking at it, I don't think that's a possibility. I've heard a lot of people talk about Jameis Winston, famous Jameis, Mr. Crab Legs himself. I don't know if that's going to happen. I don't think it's going to happen. I think Jameis has had his chance in a good system, in Bruce Arians' system, and it was just kind of a turnover machine. So I don't think we go that route either. we might have to go to a journeyman kind of guy. In all honesty, maybe a Fitzpatrick, someone like that. It's just hard to tell. We don't know. Ballard is a great GM. He can work his magic. He can find somebody out there, which is what I hope he does. But at the end of the day, I really have no idea where we're going to go because it looks like our options are closing day by day.
Will Chris Ballard famously drafts downwards in the draft? He doesn't tend to go upwards. Not his style. He'd rather have 3 more picks than 2 less picks. Can you see him changing that trend this draft and trading up for a Trey Lance? We won't get as high enough to get Fields, but can you see him trading up?
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. And that's, you were talking about maybe getting Darnold. Either it depends on what the Jets do. If the Jets don't want to draft quarterback with that second pick because Matt Salas came out and said he loves Darnold. The new head coach for them has came out and said he's an amazing talent. So to me, that tells me 2 things. He's either, 1, going to keep Darnold, draft a receiver or something at 2, or maybe trade the pick, King's ransom. Or 2, he's just talking him up to boost his trade stock so he gets a better pick out of Darnold. Either way, whatever. I think, if we wanted to, we can work something out with the Jets to where we're either getting Darnold or getting the second pick. And which that would be spectacular. If we can move up to 2, we could get Justin Fields, and that would be great.
We'd have to get a lot to get up to 2, though, wouldn't we? It wouldn't just be our first round pick. It'd be, I don't know how you get there because we do have a lot of talent on this roster. I would hate to give any of it up, especially to the Jets. That's no offense to the Jets, but they're in rebuild mode. They're going to want to go their own way. I don't want to give away a guy that's just going to get wasted on a roster for 3 years of doing nothing. You tweeted out about a couple of guys that could fall to us in the second. I'm not going to lie, I know nothing about these guys or who they are. So why don't you just tell us who they are, what they are, why you want them, or why you think they can fall to us?
Oh, okay. Yeah, the first guy I was talking about, and this was our first round pick if we do keep our first round pick, and that would be Gregory Rousseau, Miami. He opted out of the season this year in college football, but the season before, he had 15.5 sacks. So all he's been doing, according to his social media, according to all outlets, has been pretty much eating chicken and rice, drinking water, lifting weights, training. So for a full year, he's been focusing on him. He's healthy. He's rested up. And his draft stock has dropped to about mid-20s. Now, do I think he's going to stay there? No. If it does, it's purely because teams are afraid to pick him because he sat out, and that would be, I feel like, a horrible blunder for them. Gregory Rousseau is an incredible athlete, super athlete. He's a little raw when it comes to, skills-wise for rushing the passer. But, again, he's been working out for a straight year. We really don't know where he is at that, but all we know about him is he's super fast, 270 pounds, 6'4", looks kind of like a young Myles Garrett, looks kind of similar to him. So we could land him in the first round. That would be fantastic. But the second guy who intrigues me the most, because we know who he is, we know what kind of player he is. He's the guy that protects Trey Lance's blindside at NDSU, North Dakota State University. He's an incredible talent. His name is Dylan Redunz. There's this thing called the Senior Bowl. I don't know if you're familiar with it. Yeah. Very, very, very good talent evaluator. So you get to see all the seniors, all the 4-year guys that play in college football get to go against each other, all the good ones, and really see how they do against each other as an Italian evaluation to go to the NFL. And he did great. Absolutely fantastic. Every rep he had against all the good competition, I don't want to say he didn't lose a rep, but I didn't see any reps that looked bad for him. He just looked fantastic, flat out. And he was playing tackle and guard, so he could move both sides of the ball. So if we had to sit him out for a year and someone went down injured, maybe a Quentin Nelson, maybe a Mark Glowinski, he could come in and play guard as well. So his draft stock is like 60. So early third, we could pick him up in that late second, put him on our team. And I think, honestly, he could be a day one starter at left tackle.
Mm-hmm. And that's a big point we need to address in the draft. I know people say quarterback, but left tackle, edge rush, maybe a corner. It depends if we get Xavier Rhodes back. By the conversations I'm hearing, it doesn't sound like we are getting Xavier Rhodes back. That's no dig on him or us. We just can't afford to pay him what he's due. You know, he had a fantastic season, a prove it deal. He did prove it massively. And I hope he gets the contract he deserves. But our offensive line, let's break it down for anyone who doesn't watch American football regularly as we do. The Colts offensive line is one of, if not the best in the league. In pass rushing, run attacking, anything you want to say it. You know, I think Quentin Nelson's only allowed 3 sacks in over 1,000 snaps. That is a marvelous feat for any offensive lineman. But he's going to need some help on that left side this year. I don't think we're a big fan. I don't think a lot of people are big fans of moving into left tackle and drafting left guard. From what I've heard, you know, you don't take a generational talent and move into left tackle. For example, you wouldn't take Lamar Jackson and move into running back just to draft a quarterback. It just doesn't make sense. Like you said, if we can get him help on that side, and then that guy's a starter, and that guy can then also switch to left guard, you've then got quite a frightening talent of having 2 interchangeable left-hand players. Depending if you want to run it to the outside, you could put Quentin on the outside, Rookie in the middle. If you want to run it inside, you could swap them about. And I'm just wondering if you could explain a little bit more in detail what that would mean, having 2 interchangeable players on that front line.
Yeah, that's the big thing about the NFL nowadays. It's all about players, especially at that guard position, that can go from the inside to the outside or the outside to the inside. And 2 examples of these great players would be Quentin Nelson and a Zach Martin. Now, Zach Martin is who has been, before Quentin Nelson came into the league, hands down the best guard, the absolute shining example of the best offensive lineman in this league. Now, Joe Thomas was here for a while, but you know, Joe Thomas was an old man when Zach Martin came into this league in 2013. And he has been absolutely phenomenal since. Zach Martin is the shining example of pass protection from the interior. I know Quentin Nelson's only allowed 3 sacks in 3 years, and that's a great feat. But, I mean, Zach Martin is just – he sets the standard. He really does. There's no other way to put it. And a guy like Zach Martin, whenever the Cowboys had kind of the same issue that Eagles did this year, and it was their offensive line just kept getting injured over and over. And Zach Martin had to kick out the right tackle, and he played the right tackle position at the same level he played the guard. So, you know, having a guy that can do that just changes the dynamic of your offensive line based on your personnel, because we have a guy like Danny Pinter. So, you know, we could throw Pinter at guard, throw Redunds out at left tackle, and we would be just fine if we have to do that, stuff like that. Or Glowinski goes down, we throw Redunds over at guard. Maybe we have a backup left tackle that'll come in and play there. So I think that gives our offensive line some versatility for sure.
Mm-hmm. You know, the famous saying was, you can't draft a guard in the first round, especially not at 6. Chris Ballard got slandered for that. And that was famously the Jets trading up for Sam Darnold. And we dropped back to 6, and everyone was like, bit of a weird move. But we've seen what, you know, when you get a talent like Quentin Nelson, and he's worth all the picks, and like you say, there's plenty of Jerry Wright, everyone like that, the legendary players who are going to go into the Hall of Fame or who are already in it, are just worth all the picks. How does that raise the bar for players coming through college, coming through high school, when you look and you think, well, no, whereas before it was, I've got to be as good as, you know, this guy. No, it's, I've got to be as good as Quentin Nelson. How harder does that make your guy's job? Or does it give people more motivation?
It depends on how you look at it. You're either the glass half full or glass half empty kind of guy. If you're glass half empty kind of guy, you look at Quentin Nelson, you say, "Damn, what do I do? That guy is just absolute best." And then if you're glass half full kind of guy, you come out of college, you're like, "Yeah, I want to be better than Quentin Nelson. I want to move past him." Now, being said, Quentin Nelson looks like a damn ogre. He looks like Shrek. Like he looks like Johnny Bravo. You ever seen Johnny Bravo, the cartoon?
Yeah.
He looks like the shot, like just like the dude.
Yeah.
It's going to be hard to beat Quentin Nelson, 3-time first team All Pro for a reason. I mean, he is just a special talent. Honestly, a talent I think we've never seen come into the league.
Mm-hmm.
Not only, Larry Allen, what made Larry Allen so special? We're going to throw it back. He was considered the best guard in the league ever.
Yeah.
He was fast. He ran like a 4.6 at 325 pounds. He was big. Again, 325, 6'3". He's a huge dude. But the issue he had was he wasn't. It's not that he had bad awareness. He just didn't have legendary awareness, and that's something Quentin Nelson has. He's an absolute film study. He's like Peyton Manning. He sits in the film room day after day, learning as much as he can. That's the thing I really, really love about Quentin Nelson, because he loves the game. He wants to learn as much as possible. And with Hall of Fame players, you see that. People like Troy Polamalu, you see that trait with them.
Yeah. And not to be a homer on this, but did us drafting Quentin Nelson at 6 all of a sudden change the rebuilding mold, if that makes sense? A lot of teams like to rebuild around the quarterback. I think we drafted Quentin Nelson initially to protect Andrew Luck, but after Andrew's early retirement, we now have to build this team around this O-line.
Yeah, it's kind of what it's came down to. You're right about. You realize we had the absolute best core of offensive linemen in this league. Braden Smith is 24. Quentin Nelson's 24. Ryan Kelly's 27. That's 3 guys that are all pro level players at a very young age, and they're going to be here for a very long time. Hopefully Ballard pays them. I'm sure he will. He's pretty good about keeping his talent. So, I think we have a great core of offensive line, and I think any quarterback, any running back will see that. Hopefully Jonathan Taylor don't get injured. I love JT. But we're a destination quarterbacks want to come to based on our personnel. Now, the only issue with that is I'm not calling Ballard stingy with his picks, because I think what he does is magic. He got DeForest Buckner, the guy that's an all-pro player, to come, but he don't spend them. So a team like that, we will never make it. I didn't want to say we won't get Stafford. I didn't want to say that. All right. But I knew we wasn't going to get Stafford. I was like, there's no way. Someone's going to overpay. Once the 49ers said 2 second-rounders, 2 third-rounders, I was like, damn, we're out.
Yeah.
At that point, I was like, we're done. And then you see what the actual trade was, a franchise quarterback and 2 firsts and a third conditional. I mean, that's just that's empty in the bank, part of your estate, your soul. I mean, whatever you want to call it, man, you're gone at that point.
Mm-hmm. And there's also a lot of dead cap space now for both teams. I think they have to take a year on. I think for LA it's about 20 million, and for the Lions it's about 18 million in dead cap space. And although that's a drop in the bucket for an NFL team, with the cap room coming down, it's all of a sudden it's getting harder to spend. And like you said, Ballard is stingy with his picks, or of sense, he's very, tight about it. He's not stingy because he makes it brilliant. But when you look at that, we got DeForest Buckner for 1 first-round pick, and I believe it was it a 17th overall pick, something like that?
Yeah, maybe 13th, something like that.
And DeForest Buckner wasn't a Justin Houston. Justin Houston, fantastic player, just on the wrong end of the ticking time. Unfortunately, there's only so many years you can keep up that ferocious play as that sort of player. DeForest Buckner was I believe he's 26, or he was 26 this year. You know, he wasn't bad at San Francisco. He was by all means a fantastic player there. So for us to get that for one first round pick, and then you look, like we say, the Rams have paid 2 first rounders. It really just proves how good Chris Ballard, Jim Irsay, Frank Reich are good at working the market. And Colts fans can come out with the theories. You know, I've heard them all. Andrew Luck's coming back. I want to manifest it, you know, but it's not happening. We need to get over it. This guy, that guy, every other guy. I heard that I might be playing for him one day. You know, get Pat McAfee in. Why not? I heard them all. But what Colts fans need to learn, and especially not learn. I don't want, you know, I'm not speaking down to people who are trying to be condescending. But if you don't watch the game as much, you might not know. Chris Ballard is going to take his damn time with it. He's going to let everybody else panic and make their moves. You know, he's not thinking 1 year ahead. He's thinking 5 years ahead. And he, like with Philip Rivers, it might be a couple of weeks before the season starts. You know, you might want to see what Jacob Eason can do in preseason. If Eason comes out in preseason and rips it up, you never know. That could be the answer. Although it is frustrating, you know, we all want the blockbuster trade. We all want Deshaun Watson, but he's never going to sell the franchise, you know, for one player. And like he said, which I liked in his exit interview to say, which was, if the Colts have the number 1 pick overall, he's not going to be there.
Yeah.
So I think what I'm trying to ask is trying to build a team the right way, although it is the right way and the correct way, is it going to hinder us going into next season?
It depends. And I'll say a couple of things here. I'll start off one. When I say he's stingy with his picks, that's a good thing.
Yeah.
A lot of teams aren't stingy with their picks. They're not selective. The first moderately good trade they can get, they're sending it. You know, anything for just any little bit of advantage. But the thing about, you know, Chris Ballard is he's gonna wait until he can get the absolute most. Mm-hmm. And most of the time, waiting in the NFL will get you something good rather than put you in a tight scenario. And Ballard is the perfect example. He's perfected his craft. You know, he came from, I think, the Browns, maybe. I don't remember what team he came from. He came from.
Do you want me to look it up?
Yeah. Let's look that up. Because if you look at the Browns now, they're set up really well. But you know, either way, he's doing it the correct way. You know, we're going to not only be competitive now, we're not only going to be competitive in 5 years, but if he keeps doing the things that he's doing the past 3 years, we're going to be competitive as long as this man's alive and the GM for the Colts. He's an incredible talent evaluator. You can't say, you know, there's not a bad thing you can really say about him right now. I know there's.
Do you want to hear something interesting?
What?
So, if you didn't believe Chris Ballard was amazing at drafting before he was at Indianapolis, in 2016 he was. In 2014 he became the director of football operations at the one and only Kansas City Chiefs. He remained with the Chiefs until 2016. While he was with the Chiefs, he drafted 3 players: Travis Kelce, Tyreek Hill, and Marcus Peters.
Sheesh. Hey, that's a good 3 right there.
Do you Colts fans, trust me, you have got to believe in this guy. If you don't know, you obviously don't know that much about football, but they are 3 of the best players in the league at the minute.
Yeah, any day of the week.
Yeah, and so he was that's what he did at Kansas City. Now this has turned into a Chris Ballard stream, but you know what? Why not? He was at the Bears before the Chiefs. He was nothing big at the Bears, but he was professional scouting for one season where he acquired players such as Matt Forte, Johnny Knox, Brandon Marshall, and Martellus Bennett. The guy is a fantastic watch of talent. You know, the guy knows footballing talent. Yeah, sorry, I interrupted you with just blowing smoke up Chris Ballard, but carry on.
No, you're good, man. Yeah. That was just pretty much my point. He's going to set us up for a while. He's going to set us up for success for years to come. That's what I'm worried about. You know, people are saying win now, win now, win now. We got a bunch of 24-year-old players on our team. We're not win now. We're win for 5 years. We're win for 6 years. You know, this is not. I don't understand why people are just like forcing this so much. It's the casual fan. I understand that, but you know, I don't know, man. I hold people to my standard. I guess I can't help it. I really can't. I can't help it. But it's just when I see all these people, we got to get a trade here. We got to get a trade here. We got to get a trade. No, we don't. We don't. We got Darius Leonard. We got DeForest Buckner. We got two absolute studs. We got Kenny Morton, absolute stud. We got Julian Blackman, absolute stud on defense. That's 4 guys we can build around. Then offense, Braden Smith, Ryan Kelly, Quentin Nelson, 3 guys we can build around for sure. JT, we can build around our running back. You know, Michael Pittman's looking like a stud as well. We haven't seen Paris Campbell play yet, but guy runs what, a 4.3, 4.33? I mean, come on. Yeah, he's got wheels, man. He's got Roadrunner wheels. So we just got so much potential in the world. I don't know why everyone's freaking out. If we have to take a bridge quarterback, the hell with it. We'll find a way. You know, we'll find a way to get us a quarterback eventually.
You know, the NFL is always a team going to be looking for a quarterback. That is the nature of the game. When the guy who throws the ball is the most important player, technically speaking, you know, without him, you don't have a team. But Chris Ballard, and I believe the Colts now, you know, and we've got to look at it honestly. We had Peyton Manning for 12 years, something like that. Andrew Luck for another 7, 8 years. And we've been relatively spoiled. Even Philip Rivers, who came in and had a Hall of Fame year, you know, if he had beat the Bills, you would arguably put him in the MVP conversation. Although it wasn't his fault we didn't beat the Bills. So it's just going to be that, and we have to get used to that. A quick thing I wanted to bring up about the playoffs, actually. And this is going to sound mental, and you know people are probably going to come at me for this. But Philip Rivers has performed better than any other quarterback in the playoffs, barring Mahomes, who I don't think has been fantastically good. Maybe Mahomes and Baker are the only 2 quarterbacks I'd put ahead of Rivers. But you look, okay, you know, Josh Allen somehow scraped it past us. But, you know, questionable play calling, all that jazz. Got lucky, it's going to happen. Tannehill absolutely bottled it. Lamar Jackson, although a very good runner with the ball and got past the Titans with ease, you would say, struggled against the Bills' defense, which fantastic defense, not the best defense. You know, Pittsburgh, I think Ben just sadly at the end of his career there. You know, I won't even go on to the NFC side. Well, is this just me being a crazy homer for Indianapolis, or is that how you see it?
Yeah, Phillip had a great game. I'll say that for a fact. He surprised me a lot. At the end of the season there, the last, 6 or 7 games, you know, he looked good. He really did look like a good quarterback. You know, it's a shame he retired. You know, at this point where it is, bringing him back for another year wouldn't, probably sounds like a better scenario than anything we're dealing with. So,
Yeah.
Again, it's unfortunate. Again, though, if we run it back with Phillip Rivers, what's our potential with this team? What's our ceiling? I'm kind of on the train of Jacob Eason. Let Jacob Eason run it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm on that train at this point. People are like, oh, you're wasting a year of this talent. I have a feeling Quentin Nelson's going to be good for 10 years. I have a feeling Darius Leonard's probably going to be good for 8 to 10 years. I feeling Braden Smith's probably going to be good for 10 years. We got a while, man. Let's run it. We got our young gunner. He's second strongest arm in the league according to the radar gun they use. So I mean, why not? What else are we going to do?
Exactly, and he's had a year to learn. We didn't take him in the 53-man roster when we knew he wasn't going to play for any reason. We could have easily put him on reserve or future contracts or, the practice squad, and someone else could have snapped him up. But we took him on the 53-man roster when we already had two quarterbacks. Phillip Rivers had a great season. And Jacoby Brissett, okay, not the world's best quarterback, but is a very solid, consistent quarterback. And we still took him. I think that speaks volumes for the talent this kid has. And he's had a season to learn. And like you say, look at our O-line. Hopefully we can re-sign Ty. I think we pretty much, that's locked in. Hopefully, although I'm not as hopeful, we can get Marlon Mack back. Because you put a rookie quarterback with that offensive line, T.Y. Hilton, Marlon Mack, Jonathan Taylor, Michael Pittman, Jack Doyle. Do you know what I mean? You give a young guy a chance in a team like that, and he doesn't even have to be amazing to make it to the playoffs. He just has to have a good rookie year.
Yeah, absolutely. If he comes in, if Jacob Eason comes in and Reich gives him the keys, lets him really develop. Like Andrew Luck. Andrew Luck threw 23 touchdowns and he threw 18 interceptions his rookie year.
Mm-hmm.
But he also he did set the rookie passing yards. I understand that. But, they got to learn, man. People don't get that. No one's first year coming in. Majority of the time, you aren't going to see a Justin Herbert. You're not going to see a guy from the Baker Mayfield. You won't see a Baker Mayfield, Justin Herbert season. You'll see more seasons if they're going to actually truly be good, like Peyton Manning. Like Andrew Luck. Peyton Manning threw more interceptions, like 28. He has the record for most interceptions in the rookie season.
Yeah, he's got the rookie record, hasn't he?
Yeah. He's talked about someone please breaking that for him a few times. I've heard him, but to be great, it's trial and error in this league at every position, at every level, at quarterback, at scouting, at everything. It's trial and error, and this team currently, as it sits, have a bunch of people that have went through the trials, have went through the errors, and are very, very talented because of it.
Mm-hmm.
And I just think that throwing him in there, there's not many possibilities he's going to be a bad player.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's and also he's. I don't want to be that guy and say, "Oh, he's amazing. He's going to make every." But from what you hear, from other coaches, our coaching staff, this guy truly has the talent to make it as an NFL quarterback. I think it was. I think I said this before. I think it was when we was playing Green Bay, and he was out on the field with Marcus Brady, and they was concerned that we hadn't told him about a player on our team. It's like, no, it's all right. He's redshirting. So I just hope we give him the time. I hope he doesn't just become draft capital. I don't think he will. I don't think the Colts are built like that anymore. Is there anything else you want to get in here?
No, I'll talk about the draft capital thing, though. I remember saying that earlier in the season.
Yeah, go for it.
Yeah, there's two ways to look at that. I was calling him a little bit. I said there's a possibility he's just draft capital based on just how strong his arm is. And, if we landed a guy like Matthew Stafford or some other talent, then, there's some other quarterback that's a guaranteed better backup, he could end up being traded. There's other teams that need quarterbacks. But as it sits, man, he might be having the keys to the throne. It's really becoming more apparent to me that this guy, just based on how Ballard's acting, based on how they've handled this offseason, that they want this guy to be quarterback. It looks like Reich likes him. It looks like everyone there is just kind of enthused with the idea of this guy coming in and being the starter, possibly. So I think right now, instead of them focusing on can we get a quarterback here, can we get a quarterback here, I think that they're molding him. I think they're spending a lot of time getting this guy ready. And, if that happens, I'm going to be a happy guy because when's the last time we had a strong arm quarterback in here? A good strong arm quarterback.
Andy's he's mobile. I mean, okay, he's not Lamar Jackson, but he could probably run better than Phillip Rivers and Peyton Manning.
Probably. Yeah.
Well, I hope he can.
Yeah, no, I'm sure he can by a mile.
Anyway, unless you've got anything else to put out, I think we'll call it a day there.
Yeah, that's it.
Yeah. Okay. Thanks for people watching. Thanks for people who are going to watch this. Go and check out Xavier's stuff on Twitter. I'm going to get this right. I am HOA analysis.
I think it's I'm. So I think I used it. I didn't use an apostrophe, obviously. I just put I am.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm the HOA at Twitter, YouTube. That's High Octane Analysis. ANALYSIS. Couldn't remember how to spell analysis for a second. But yeah, if you want to find me, that's where I'm at. I'm tweeting all the time. Come talk to me.
Yeah, go and check him out. He doesn't just do Colts. For those people who are not Colts fans, he does. You break down everyone, don't you?
Yeah, pretty much everything.
Follow us, UK Colts fans, on Twitter. And also, one last thing before we go, a big shout out to today's sponsor, Northern Summer Clothing. They are always going to sponsor the show. They don't pay for sponsorship. They don't pay me to do any of this. It's just a good friend of mine. He does clothing, hats, trousers, jumpers, t-shirts, urban active wear. And also now he does have water bottles in. Nice, slick, black, like the Chili's ones you see. It's just good stuff. Probably the best way to sell it. I'm probably selling it really good. It's just good stuff. But no, it's genuine content and it's for you guys. So go and check it out. And thanks for watching. Going into the Super Bowl next week. Excited for it?
Yeah. Hopefully Tom Brady doesn't win. That's all I got to ask. Mahomes, do your thing, man. Mahomes could win 2 Super Bowls, and if Tom Brady wins this, it's Jesus Christ, man. It wouldn't matter.
Yeah. The last word from us, go Patrick Mahomes.